Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, January the 29th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. We do create multiple hypotheses. We do not know what the market is going to do. Therefore, we create plans or hypos on what the auction should look like based on who takes control, and then we execute the plan that best suits the market. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So taking a look at Friday, just to review what we were looking at. Friday, we were looking for an open auction just out of range or just in range but out of value. We were looking for a rotation down into the value area, and somewhere between the value area and the VPOC, we were looking for buyers to step in and rotate us up into taking out the overnight high and putting in a new all-time high. That was Hypo 1. Hypo 2 was the opposite of that, taking out the overnight high and then coming back inside Thursday's body and rotating in there and basing. And then Hypo 3 was a continuation day, failure to close the gap, failure to get into the value area, and go into a continuation day and get a trend up into new all-time highs, with the target being the zipper measured move as the main target. The daily ATR is a secondary target, and then that measured move that we had up at the 2873.50, and that's basically the hypo that we ended up getting. They broke out of range, they held above the range once they got out of it, and then they just started to trend up, and we talked about not trying to fade an afternoon move because we are way above weekly critical mass, and we are likely to just continue into the close, and exactly what we did. And then so far in the Globex, we closed near the highs of the day with a VPOC shift up into the close. Again, going back to our simple auction logic, we are looking for continuation to continue. When you see that, we got it. They pushed it up into the 2878.50, and since then they've found some sellers and come back down into this thin area of the profile here. So inventory is about, I'd say, 70% net short. We are finding some balance here back in around that 68 area, but the profile is very thin above us, and we've got basically a weak low that was put in. So let's just take a step back here for a minute, take a look at the macro to micro. Or actually, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the two things which I think are going to drive the market this week. The first one is news. So basically, we got a lot of news out this week. So let me just put this week up. So we did have personal spending and personal income and core PCE price index. It was a bit of a miss on the personal spending month over month and personal consumption. We have Dallas Fed PCE coming out in 11 minutes, and then 10:30 we've got Dallas Fed, and then we've got the 3-month and the 6-month bill auction at 11:30. And then that's it for the news today. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, we have at 8:55 we've got Red Book. 9 o'clock we've got S&P CS HPI Composite. 9 o'clock we've got the the S&P, I just said that. 10 o'clock, we've got CB consumer confidence, and 10:30 Dallas Fed services revenues, 11:30 the 4-week and the 52-week bill auction. And then that's the news. Basically, we've got API weekly crude at 135. But the big day is going to be Wednesday, of course. Wednesday is the end of the month, but it also happens to be Fed Day. So we've got at 8:15, we've got ADP, non-farm employment change, employment benefits, employment costs, employment wages, plus we've got the Canadian GDP, IPPI, RMPI. But then at 9:45, we've got Chicago PMI, pending home sales at 10, crude oil inventories at 10:30, and then again, the 2 o'clock, we've got the FOMC statement with the rate decision, and likely going to get a rate increase. Then on Thursday, we've got the initial jobless claims at 8:30 with non-farm productivity and unit labor costs. 9:45, Bloomberg consumer confidence. 10 o'clock, we've got the ISM manufacturing. And then on Friday, we've got non-farm payroll. So a lot of news this week. Okay. On top of that, it is the thick of the earnings season, and basically we've got some all the majors basically reporting. So this morning we've had Lockheed, Seagate, Alliance. Again, the big ones are coming out later this week. Nothing really big tonight, but then you go into Tuesday. Tuesday, you've got prior to the market open, you've got McDonald's, Pfizer, coming, Harley Davidson, and then after the market closes, you've got AMD, Electronic Arts, Juniper Networks, a couple big ones there. And then on Wednesday, you've got, I believe we got Facebook on Wednesday. Thursday is going to be the big day, but Wednesday we've got Boeing, Cirrus before the market. Those are the big ones there. And then after the market, we've got Facebook and Microsoft and PayPal and AT&T, QCOM, United Steel, eBay. So a fair amount on Wednesday after market, and then Thursday, that's the big one. Thursday, we've got before the market, we've got Alibaba, we've got MasterCard, we've got UPS, Blackstone, Nokia, and then the real fireworks are going to start here, where we've got all the techs, Apple, Amazon, Google, Visa, GoPro, Amgen, Cypress. So some huge techs going to be on Thursday. So this is going to be a week that is going to set the tone going into February. Now let's talk about January. Because so far in January, let me just go to the macro. So far in January, we've already had 204 range. That is a big range. It's almost as big as what we had in August and October of 2015, where we were 230, I think, and 250, I think. But big months, and this is a big month at a new all-time high, and not likely going to get a negative month this month. We'd have to drop all the way down to our month open, our year open, which is down at 26.75.75. In terms of where we are in the trend, extremely strong trend. We've gone parabolic. We've left the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA, way behind us, and no end in sight. We don't even challenge the trend on the monthly until we get down into the 2583 area, so near the below the open of the month. Going to the weekly, you can see same thing. Good slope, good separation. We don't even challenge the trend until we get back to the 2766 area. We've left a huge gap here on the weekly. When we do, roll over, it's going to be a big move to come back down to the 9, but it's going to be a way bigger move to come down into the weekly at 20 SMA. Going to the daily. The daily, you can see price is parallel in the 9 very nicely. Good slope, good separation. No real technical gap here. This market keeps trudging along. This is a 14th month of one time framing up. It's just, it's mind-boggling. Going to the intraday. Intraday, we went in and put a new all-time high, so we have an unequalized all-time high up at the 2878.50. Our RTH all-time high is 2875 and a quarter. We're below that right now. We've just closed the technical gap on the 4-hour, and we're holding just above the 9 EMA right now. Going to the 30-minute. You see that we have broken below the 9 and the 20, and we've got the start of what could be a start of a downward trend happening on the 30-minute. And then just going to the 5-minute. This might take a little bit of time just to load, because I think I've got too many days for my 5-minute to load quickly. So let's just give it a minute here. I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, so on the 5-minute, you've got the same thing. We were trending down. They tried to get above the 20. They failed. They broke back down. Good slope and separation down, and then we're coming into this this consolidation, and we're about to come down and try to put in a new Globex low. The Globex low is down at 64. We're trading 65 and a quarter. What I was looking at is this area right here. We had a big move on Friday with multiple distribution zones, and we left a bunch of singles. If you go to the market profile, I think this is going to define our day. So you can see that on the market profile, we opened up and we started one-time framing, and one-time framing never got violated. Every TPO count had didn't break below the low of the prior TPO count. We do have singles at 56.75, 63.50, and 68.50. And this is what I think is going to define our day today. I think we're going to get a rotational day, and I think we're going to fill in this area that we left behind on Friday and didn't properly auction, and we're likely going to basically, chop sideways and take out all these singles as we just go sideways, going into a huge week where news is likely going to move this market again, either to go up and take out that Globex high, which is unequalized, or roll over. And I think we're probably still going to get some move up, depending on what they do with the Fed and how we see the other news and other earnings. So in terms of levels, of course, we've got our overnight high is up here at the all-time high at 78.50. Our overnight low currently is 64, but that could easily expand since we're coming down to test it. This is a weak low. Below the 64, you want to be targeting the 61.75 and probably a trip through this distribution zone down to this single down here at 56.75. Our 20-period daily ATR, average true range, for the full session is gone up to 22.89. So currently off of the low of the night, our upside daily ATR is all the way up at 87, and currently off the high, well, it's not likely going to change. Our downside daily ATR is down at 28.55.75. So we've got room to go lower or go higher. And basically, my Hypo 1 and Hypo 2 are going to be equally weighted, and they're going to revolve around chop in this distribution zone between the 75 and the 55 area as we fill this area in and properly auction. If we take a look at the structure, you can see that we had, uh, 3 days of solid balance around this 28.40 and a quarter. And we broke out of it strongly on Friday, left it behind, went and put in new all-time highs, and left off this area here that is totally not auctioned at all. Look how thin the profile is right here. And we want to watch the 53 area. Below the 53 area, I would look for them to challenge the range low from Friday. And if that does not hold, I'll move back into the 28.40 coming into the earnings, and the news that we've got is likely going to happen. I expect it'll probably be trading down here by the time we get to the Fed on Wednesday. If we do not hold above that 53 area. So 53 is going to be my over-under line. And 46.50 is going to be my key line in the sand. And that's basically a break below Friday. Okay, so let's talk about levels that we can trade off of. Obviously, we've got multiple distributions, so we're going to be watching the LVNs very closely, and then the singles that are there. So basically, these three levels right here, targeting the overnight VPOC at 57, and that's 61.75, and then where the VPOC was most of the day down here at the 54. The value area means nothing. There was no value on Friday. It was price discovery, and then of course a breakout of the range high and a breakout of the key line in the sand. Well, I got the key line in the sand there, so everybody knows that that's going to be a trade level. So in terms of hypothesis, Hypo 1 and Hypo 2 equally weighted. Inventory is about 70% net short, so I'm looking for an open auction in range. I'm looking for a move up to test the 69.50 area, and somewhere between 69.50 and 72. I'm looking for responsive sellers to step in and rotate us down through this thin area, coming down and testing the VWAP from Friday up at 59 and a quarter and pushing through to take out this single here, chopping and basing, and basically just chopping in this area and probably closing somewhere around the 61, 62 area. That is or possibly even the 68, but closing somewhere inside of this zone. Hypo 2 is an open auction in range, a push down through to test the LVN, maybe even come down to the 54 area, but somewhere between the 50 56 and 54. I'm looking for a base to form and then start working and grinding our way up towards the single at 68.50. Maybe even get a late day probe up to 72 and a quarter. But again, probably closing somewhere either at the 68 or the 62 area. So those are two equally weighted. I just don't know which way they're going to move first, but I think it's going to be two-sided trading. I think we're going to get a lot of rotation, and lately the rotations have been pretty big. So be careful, because we're probably going to see, the average rotation somewhere in the 5 to 6 point area. Hypo 3 is going to be equally weighted with Hypo 4. Why? Because we're seeing some sellers come in, but we also put in a new all-time high up at the 78.50. So again, if we get expansion, I don't know, which way it's going to be, but we've got some key levels to watch, and the first key level is going to be this 52 area. If it does not hold, then we could see the Hypo 4 kick in. But Hypo 3 is going to be an open auction. Failure to come down and take out the single down here at 56, probably find some buyers down here in the 61.75, push up through within the initial balance up to the 72 and a quarter, and then break out and push up and take out that all-time high, the unequalized high, and make a new all-time high and push up towards this 87, but ultimately falling back and probably coming down into the 72 to 68 to close. So that is Hypo 3. Hypo 4 is a breakdown day. Failure to take out the naked VPOC and the naked close. Rotate down into this 54, 52 area, break the 52, push down through to the 46, and then fail and push down back into this 40 area and start chopping down here and closing somewhere down here as a gap fill back down to that 41. There's a lot of, look at all the naked VPOCs below us. This is a lot of repair work to do. So when we roll over, okay, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be the sky is falling, but there's a lot of repair down here, and we're likely going to see, a grind down into the testing the 2600s again, and probably testing the year open. That is, we've already put in 204 points on the year in January. So those are my main hypotheses for ES. Going and taking a quick look at gold. Gold continues to balance, but we're seeing some weakness in gold. If we break the 45 area, then I'm expecting a bigger move back towards the 1334 and back into the balance that we broke out of down here at 1331. So watch that 45 level very closely. Otherwise, we continue to chop in this area between the 42 and the 52. Above, watch the 55. If we get above 55, I'm going to be looking for a move to test the value area up here at 1359 and a possible continuation to make a new fractal high above the 65. Test into the 1375 area, 1380 area. But again, I think gold's going to chop as we go into Wednesday. Wednesday will probably be the big move in gold, and likely break out of this balance and either come back down or go and continue to move up towards the 1400. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.